Hey, what's up, guys? Dylan Johnson from Soccer Mag here, and welcome back to another episode of Mixing with the DJs. I'm joined by my fellow DJ Dylan Jack, and today we are doing a review of the best game week the Premier League has ever seen. Game week 10, Liverpool top of the table, Arsenal and City lose. Perfect. I think we can end the episode there. I'm done already.
You're quite chipper today.
First game, second favourite of the weekend.
Yeah.
What did you think of Newcastle Arsenal?
Yeah, I mean, what a win for Newcastle. I think we sort of predicted that they would give Arsenal a bit of trouble, but Arsenal, they had Saliba in there, they had Gabriel in there, they had
it was besides Odegaard.
Yeah, it was their strongest team
yeah.
so they can't sort of sit here and moan about, we didn't have, we had injuries like they've been doing all season, or we didn't have this play, that play. It's just Newcastle took their chance, and it was a well-deserved win, I thought.
And I think from Arsenal's point of view, the worrying thing was they created basically nothing. There was no threat at all.
Yeah.
And Newcastle was just comfortable, I guess.
Yeah.
It just felt like Newcastle, as soon as they scored, it felt like, okay.
Yeah,
they almost treated Arsenal. They didn't necessarily drop back and be defensive, but it was like, try score against us.
Yeah.
You probably won't. Okay, cheers,
exactly.
Thanks for the points.
Yeah, they had so much control in this game. They looked like the team that was in control. Arsenal were trying to create things a bit on the counter. They weren't quite finding the gaps. They couldn't get Saka free. So, they really struggled.
And I think also for Arsenal, I don't know if it's necessarily an experiment, because I think it has had to be tried, but Trossard, Martinelli, Havertz and Saka up front, it doesn't seem like it's working at all.
No.
And I think this has been coming because Arsenal's goal threat really, I mean, they scored 2 against Liverpool, but after they're relying way too much on set pieces, and obviously there are a massive threat there, but there aren't really many chances coming from open play at all. And I think Havertz is suffering by Trossard being in that area or being deeper, and I just don't think Trossard suits that position at all. So I don't know. Obviously, they're missing Odegaard, but there's got to be a better.
Yeah, you can't just rely on one. I know how important Odegaard. He's like their version of a Bruno Fernandes or Kevin De Bruyne or something. But you've got to have something beyond that, you know. And they've shown at times that they have something beyond that with Saka, but you can't just rely on one guy to make that much of a difference. That's a big problem then for your squad.
Because I also think he will make a difference when he comes back.
Yeah, definitely.
But I don't think they're going to go to the next level again straight away, because the problems if you're not creating chances at all, one player isn't going to come and solve everything. It just doesn't happen that way.
The problems are structural. Yes, yeah.
So, straight after that, we had Bournemouth versus Man City. And I think we said that both of these games were, looking at both teams, how they were playing, that they could both drop points. I don't think we predicted either of them to lose, but that's even better. We take it. But Bournemouth, again, for the third week in a row, against top opposition, playing really well and deserving to get the points.
Yeah, they definitely did. I mean, they're playing some brilliant attacking football, and it's nice to watch. It's not just like they're scraping through these games. They could have had more than 2-1 win, I thought, with the quality of chances they were creating. And again, City, I mean, Haaland is cutting a very, very, very frustrated figure at the moment. He's just... He had that one chance right in front of the goal that was double saved, and other than that, it was a bit quiet from him, I thought. So he seems to be getting very frustrated, a very lone figure there up front.
And it's weird watching City almost having to be bailed out by players that don't score goals. I mean, like Gvardiol again now for I think the second time in 3 games, coming in and popping up and doing something, but. This is attacking wise. Obviously, De Bruyne hasn't been in the whole season, but the attacking collective just isn't clicking at all. And we spoke about their injuries, but Pep played the classic as well. Like, we have no players. But that team and squad of theirs wasn't that far off.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Rodri's still missing, but Kyle Walker was back. De Bruyne was on the bench.
Yeah.
That team wasn't too far away as well from City's best side, I think.
Yeah, that's like a title winning. You give those guys that started for City, most of the Premier League would take them. You know?
Exactly.
It's not like they're starting with nobodies. Yeah.
And it is, I don't know how they're going to fix it, because it's similar to Arsenal, where it feels there just isn't, it's not like they're taking 30 shots at goal and being unlucky. It just feels like there's a structural problem to them creating and scoring.
Yeah, exactly that.
After that, we have Ipswich versus Leicester. I mean, a thriller 1-1. I personally didn't watch the game, but I mean, I guess that's fine.
Yeah,
it's like 1-1.
Ipswich, both teams will take that. I guess either side would have wanted a win, given that this is a relegation battle, but a 1-1, it doesn't really do much.
Yeah, it keeps everything the same.
Ipswich or Leicester any sort of good, they needed either one of these teams needed the win. But I guess with Ipswich down to 10 men with the red card, they'll take a draw, I guess. Yeah.
Then we have Liverpool versus Brighton.
Take it away.
This was my. I mean, this was the last 20 minutes were my favorite game of the weekend. Yes. But the first 70 really were a struggle.
Yeah.
I think that first half was probably the worst I've seen Liverpool play under Slot. It felt like Brighton were the home team. Liverpool. Yes. I think after the first 15-20 minutes, Brighton had 70% possession or something insane like that.
Yeah.
And midfield completely overrun. Every time Liverpool got the ball, they gave it straight back to Brighton. There was no control of the game. It was very poor. I think that, one of the things that frustrated me was just the midfield was so bad, but then there was players getting sucked into stupid things like McAllister. I think I've said it before, but when Liverpool aren't doing well, he starts doing like lying on the ground and going down and making stupid fouls and just not playing the game. And it's... you are Liverpool's best midfielder. You're losing 1-0 to Brighton at home. You're playing badly. Focus on the game. Stop getting sucked into like these niggly fouls and going down and looking for everything and slowing the game down. Like, focus on the game. And that was just one thing that was really annoying me. But I think Slot said that in the first half, every single Liverpool player could have come off. I don't think there was one person that played well.
Yeah.
And I think credit to Brighton, I said that it would be a very, very difficult game for Liverpool.
Yeah.
And they played really well, and Liverpool were lucky to get anything out of that game, I think. That Cody Gakpo goal on any other day could have just been easily defended.
Yeah.
And then obviously Mo Salah almost felt like he was anonymous, but then stepped up.
Yeah, that's what he does.
And I guess these are the games. Take the points, move on. But I feel like I've been saying that a lot recently. Yeah. But seriously though,
but this is a hugely impressive. What a run Liverpool are on at the moment. We were looking at these games before this run started,
and they're halfway through, and they haven't lost.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's Leverkusen on Tuesday or tomorrow at the time of filming. But I think naturally I can't expect Liverpool to beat every team 3-0 every week. But I think if Liverpool play that first half again against Man City or the next couple teams, Villa, I think this weekend, if I'm not mistaken, Liverpool won't win that game.
Yeah.
That's like what I can take away from it. Take the points, move on, bad performance, but you don't play well every week. So when you win, when you play badly, that's how you win the title.
Yeah, exactly.
Then we have Forest versus West Ham. Forest pushing for the Champions League.
They really are. Jeepers, this is the story of the Premier League so far. I'm going to go and put a cheeky little 10 Rand bet on them to win the league. Maybe it'll come back with like $1 million, something
I mean, if you had said to me at the start of the season, Junaid off camera was saying that I apparently predicted Forest to get relegated. Yeah. I definitely didn't say that. But if you had said after 10 games that they'd be above Arsenal, Chelsea, Villa, and in third place, like 1 point or a couple points off City, I would have said, we're living in a simulation. It's breaking. Someone's playing Forest career mode right now. But against West Ham, great results.
Yeah.
Again, West Ham, terrible.
Yeah, West Ham have just been... it's a matter of time now. It's got to be a matter of time until the pedigree
United gave him the lifeline and
now they haven't used it. And he's probably going to join Ten Hag very soon and looking for a new job. I just don't see him surviving with West Ham on this current run. But Jeepers, Nottingham are on another level, And I think they've done it with their manager sitting in because he got sent off, didn't he, a few games ago, Nuno.
Against, was it Brighton?
Brighton, yes. And he's been sitting on the touchline this whole and they've been putting together this wonderful run. So incredible. Yeah.
And I think statistically, they've got one of the best defenses in the Premier League. And they're scoring goals consistently. Yeah. So it really doesn't feel like Nottingham. Maybe we've taken it back like 40 years to Nottingham Forest won the Champions League or something. But great. Forest really looking good. Yeah. Good for the Premier League. After that, we have Southampton versus Everton.
Huge win for Southampton.
Huge win for Southampton. We didn't. I mean, I didn't back them at all. But Everton, whenever I need them, they let me down. But I feel like that's what every Everton fan thinks.
Yeah, they must be.
But massive 3 points. I think in the relegation zone. Yes. That's It's a lot tighter now after that
yeah,
one.
it is. Yeah, Everton, this massive missed opportunity for Everton because they could have put some distance between themselves and the relegation zone. Now they're drawn right back because they were on a good run before this, and now they're drawn right back into that battle.
Wolves versus Crystal Palace, and probably a better result for Crystal Palace than Wolves.
Yeah.
But I think looking at Wolves' performances, it's good to just get back-to-back points.
Yeah.
And see where you can go from there, because realistically I think they're going to get out of this relegation battle.
Yes, yeah.
I think their performances have been good.
Yeah.
And for Palace, that's a massive point for them. And they scored 2 goals. I think that's the first time this season they've scored 2 goals.
Yes, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, both teams, Wolves will probably be a bit more unhappy than Palace, but yeah.
But also, I mean, after trading 1-0 for quite a while in this game, I think they'd take the draw. They would want the win, but they take the draw, I think, yeah. But anyway.
Then Super Sunday, Spurs versus Villa.
Jeepers.
And Spurs have done something consistent for the first time. They've won 2 games in a row. It's crazy. And against good opposition as well.
Yeah, and it didn't look like it. Well, I mean, I thought they were actually the brighter team in the first half.
When they went 1-0 down, I was like, okay.
That goal was kind of against the run of play. Villa weren't really creating a heck of a lot other than from set pieces. Onana, I thought, was brilliant in their midfield. I really do rate him. And he was causing Spurs a lot of problems. But other than that, they weren't really creating all that much. So that goal was very much against. It was Spurs who were creating everything and causing the problems. And you see them go 1-0 down, and you think, oh, sure. But what a response in that second half. They absolutely tore Villa to shreds.
I mean, that was probably Dom Solanke's best game for Spurs since he signed for them. And I think Villa this season have been an interesting one because they haven't been the same that we saw last season. I think last season their defense was better.
Yeah, definitely.
And even though their away from home record wasn't as good, I mean, it wasn't amazing, but I think that this season they've been so inconsistent.
Yeah, they have. There's times where they look like that team from last season, and there are times that they do what they do in that second half, and they just crumbled. Yeah.
So, and I think now they're probably around 6th or 7th in the table.
Yes.
And now I think they play Champions League again this week. Could be, I mean, they could maybe be in Europa next season or something like that if they don't start getting some form of consistency.
Yeah, and we've seen how they've struggled to balance those responsibilities whenever they're coming off a Champions League game, their next performance.
And they didn't have a midweek game. They didn't have a midweek game.
They didn't.
So it's worrying for them. But also credit to Spurs. They did play really well. They deserved it. And it's good that Spurs, I mean, knock the confidence out of City lose. Knock the confidence out of Villa. Liverpool must be looking now. Let's go. Okay. Then, Man United versus Chelsea.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on this game?
Perhaps the most disappointing game overall, I think, from the weekend. It was just a complete letdown in terms of a spectacle. The quality of this game was just... It was so poor. I don't know what you thought watching, but I mean, the result went the way you would have wanted. I mean, the draw was perfect.
It was actually the perfect game of football.
Yeah. But I just thought the personnel that were playing for both teams, I thought Chelsea weren't great, and United, I mean, they got Chelsea into a bit of a scrap. I don't know if that was the plan from Ruud van Nistelrooy, but...
It definitely was a scrap.
Yeah,
it felt it felt like basketball. It did. Chelsea get the ball, attack. United get the ball, attack.
Yeah,
and there was nothing in midfield.
Yeah, Cole Palmer he created a couple of chances, but he didn't really. I thought he was well ushered by Casemiro, and then in the second half by Ugarte. I thought they did really well in terms of limiting his opportunities. He didn't really have too many shots on goal. I can't even remember a good shot on goal from him. And he released Neto. I thought Neto was probably Chelsea's best attacking threat. But they didn't really create much. And then from a United perspective, again, we're seeing the same old patterns that happened under Ten Hag. I've seen that, I mean, Alejandro Garnacho has got a lot of flack from this game, and a little bit deservedly so. We've got to remember that he is still a 20-year-old. He's still very raw, and the anger's probably got to be more directed to the coaching staff and the management who are persisting with him and utilizing him in the way that, because he is still 20 and he is still growing his game, and he's not the finished product. And we've seen a lot of that rawness. I thought we saw a lot of that rawness come through in this game. It was probably his worst game in a long time.
I think he was effective in that he was getting into space and getting opportunities.
But his decision making
it was the wrong time. It's like you can see, he's not ready for, like, he's ready to get into those positions. Yeah. But his decision making, like you were saying, in those positions, he's not Rashford.
No.
Or he doesn't have that 5, 6, 7, 8 years of experience.
Yes.
And I think that was his biggest problem.
Yeah.
But he was still doing the positive thing, which is getting into those positions.
Getting into those spaces and those positions. It's just, and that's why I've been saying that he needs to be utilized more as an impact player than and he has been overplayed. If we're being honest, he's played like over 500 minutes. I mean, he's been very much overplayed by United on that left wing, and I hope that when Ruben Amorim does take over, shoves Rashford onto that left wing, because that's his best position. Someone needs to get into Rashford's ear and tell him to stop dropping so deep. I don't know where he's got this idea that he's a regen of Andrea Pirlo or something, because he's dropping way too deep and he's trying to create instead of being the guy who's challenging that defensive line. He should be the guy, and I thought on a big positive note for United, I think Mazraoui has been absolute steal. I don't know how they got this guy. Yeah. He looked like the one guy on that field who absolutely oozed class. He looked like the one guy who's just, every decision he made was the right decision. He's playing at left back, which he's actually a right back. Yeah. So, but you could shove him. Maybe United should shove him up at striker and see what happens. But he was just absolutely classy. I thought brilliant performance.
I think especially he played a big part in keeping Cole Palmer quiet.
Yes. Yeah.
There were a lot of time, even against was it Neto still at the end? He was because Neto, I think he's probably one of the best one-on-one attackers in the Premier League.
Yeah.
His pace is crazy and he's so tricky.
He is, yeah.
But Mazraoui on the side he doesn't usually play did really, really well.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I was very impressed with him in that. But yeah, I mean, it's a draw for United. I guess they'll have to take it is 2 points drop for United because they're at home against. They would have been hoping to win this. I guess Chelsea, after a terrible, probably one of their worst performances of the season, will take a draw from Old Trafford. But yeah, there's just a lot of work that needs to be done on United's attacking structures. I think this game showed, and perhaps it needs to be a little bit of a change of personnel, because you can't keep playing Garnacho down that left wing side. There's going to be inconsistencies in this game, and maybe he can benefit a little bit, because sometimes with young players, when you take them out of the team for a little bit, they can focus a bit more on themselves. Maybe in the next 5 games, he plays 2, starts 2, comes off the bench in 3, then at least that takes him out of the spotlight. That allows him to work a bit more in training on his own game, focus a bit on himself. And Rashford, who's the experienced head in that attack, and he should be. He should be the fulcrum of that attack, because he is the experienced guy. And he should be leading that attack next to Højlund, I think. Yeah.
And what were your thoughts on Bruno? I think it's his first
so
goal of the season.
Yeah.
But there's something about Bruno this season that, I don't know, just trying too hard, but his quality looks worse.
It does, yeah.
Like his passing, but his shooting, his decision making.
Yeah.
It's not that he's trying too hard. It just feels like something about the way the team's playing just isn't getting the best out of him.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if that's where he's making his passes, where he needs to play, where the United need to be a bit more dominant in possession a little bit and allow him to play closer to the edge of the box. Maybe that's because that's generally where he's played his best football, where he does his most damage, the closer to the opposition box that he is, and those areas between the midfield and the centre backs, that's where he generally does a lot of damage. And he's probably not getting into those same areas, and he's doing a lot of Hollywood balls, trying a lot of Hollywood balls over the defense.
Not even, it's like the Hollywood ball, but it's like there's no need.
Poor,
it's just there's no need.
Yeah.
It's like you guys have just got the ball back. The counter isn't even really on.
Exactly. He just throws
pass
the ball
straight
forward.
to Sanchez or something like that. It's like, come on, dude.
Yeah, and that seems to be it just seems to be a lot. It seems to be rushed, and maybe that is a confidence thing, in that United forwards know that they're not scoring a lot of goals, and they know they need to get the ball back to front very, very quickly, and they're under pressure because of that. I don't know. Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching, guys. That has been Mixing with the DJs review of Game Week 10. Like I said, the greatest game week in Premier League history until Game Week 38 when Liverpool win the title, hopefully. Thanks for joining me, Dill.
Cool.
And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, etc. What do you think is going to happen? Are Nottingham Forest in the title race? Let us know. I don't think they are. But thanks for watching, guys. Thanks,
Cheers.
Dill.